December 17, 1993, 3:47 p.m. Los Alamos National Laboratory. A weapon fires. No bullet, no explosion, no sound, just light. Plasma matter ripped from the heart of stars, compressed into a ring, magnetically suspended, moving at 9 million meters per second. The scientists watch it travel down the range. Stable, glowing, impossible. The test succeeds. Champagne is opened. Calls are made to Washington. And then, every document vanishes. Every researcher is reassigned. The program disappears. Not canceled, classified. They called it Marauder, and you were never supposed to know it existed. Right now, there are weapons aimed at you that don't need to cross a border. Weapons that rewrite your thoughts before you think them. Weapons that strike from space at 20 times the speed of sound. Weapons lying on the ocean floor, waiting. You think you're safe because no one's declared war? The war already started. You just don't know it yet. This is not theory. This is not speculation. This is leaked intelligence. Declassified nightmares. The weapons they built in secret and deployed in silence. By the end of this video, you will know what governments have spent billions to hide. And you will understand why the next war won't be announced. It will just happen. This is your briefing. Welcome to the classified world. Let's begin. This is not entertainment. This is a briefing. And once you know what you're about to learn, you can't unknow it. Let's begin. Imagine a weapon that doesn't fire bullets, doesn't fire missiles, doesn't fire anything solid at all. Instead, it fires a ring of matter so hot, it exists in the same state as the surface of the sun. Plasma, magnetically contained, self-stabilizing, moving at speeds conventional weapons cannot match. This is not theoretical. This is Marauder. In the late 1980s, deep inside Los Alamos National Laboratory, the same facility that birthed the atomic bomb scientists working on the Shiva Star project made a breakthrough. They discovered they could create plasma toroids, donut-shaped rings of superheated gas, held together by electromagnetic fields, capable of being fired like a projectile. The implications were staggering. Plasma weapons don't rely on gunpowder. They don't need explosives. They don't even need physical ammunition in the traditional sense. What they need is energy, and energy can be generated, stored, and released in ways that conventional weapons cannot. But there was a problem. Plasma is unstable. It dissipates, collapses under its own heat, until it doesn't. By 1993, the Marauder team had solved the containment problem. They had successfully fired plasma toroids that remained stable over significant distances. The rings moved at approximately 3% the speed of light, roughly 10 million meters per second. On impact, they could theoretically deliver enough energy to obliterate electronics, ignite structures, and incapacitate organic targets simultaneously. And then the program went dark. Not canceled, not ended, classified. Every public record of Marauder was pulled. Research papers vanished from academic databases. Funding requests disappeared. Congressional oversight non-existent. The scientists involved were reassigned to other projects, and many signed agreements that legally prevented them from discussing their work for the rest of their lives. To this day, the US government has never officially acknowledged what happened to Marauder. No follow-up reports, no declassification, no explanations. But here's what we know from the fragments that remain. Plasma weapons leave almost no forensic signature. There's no shell casing, no chemical residue, no projectile to recover. The destruction looks like an electrical fire, an equipment malfunction, a freak energy surge, perfect deniability. In the years since Marauder disappeared, there have been sporadic reports, unverified, unconfirmed, of directed energy tests in remote corners of the Nevada desert. Flashes of light that don't correspond to known weapon systems. Electromagnetic anomalies detected by civilian monitoring stations. Strange burn patterns on military test dummies that suggest energy transfer, not kinetic impact. None of it conclusive, all of it suggestive. If Marauder became operational, it would represent a weapon class the public has no reference point for. A weapon that doesn't announce itself. A weapon that strikes faster than human reflexes can process. A weapon that, if deployed, could disable infrastructure, neutralize defenses, and sow chaos without anyone understanding what hit them. And the silence around its fate suggests one of two possibilities. Either the program failed so catastrophically that it was buried to avoid embarrassment, or it succeeded so completely that it became too dangerous to ever speak about again. The US military does not classify failures, it classifies advantages. There is a speed at which defense becomes irrelevant, a speed at which warning systems fail, at which interception is impossible, at which human decision-making is simply too slow. Russia has crossed that threshold. The AVANGARD hypersonic glide vehicle is not a missile in the traditional sense. It does not follow a ballistic arc. It does not announce its trajectory. It does not give warning. Instead, it does this. Launched atop an intercontinental ballistic missile, AVANGARD separates in the upper atmosphere and begins to glide. But this is not the glide of an aircraft or a re-entry capsule. This is controlled, powered maneuvering at speeds exceeding Mach 27. More than 20 times the speed of sound. Over 20,000 miles per hour. It weaves. It shifts altitude. It changes direction mid-flight. And by the time it is detected, it has already struck. To understand why this matters, you need to understand the architecture of nuclear deterrence. For 70 years, the balance of power between nuclear-armed nations has rested on a single assumption: early warning. The idea that if one side launches, the other will know in time to respond. That knowledge, that mutual assurance of destruction, has prevented total war. AVANGARD destroys that assumption. Traditional missile defense systems rely on predictable trajectories. Radar tracks the launch. Computers calculate the path. Interceptors are deployed to destroy the warhead before it reaches its target. But AVANGARD doesn't have a predictable path. It maneuvers unpredictably at altitudes and speeds that current defense systems were never designed to counter. By the time radar identifies it as a threat, it's already inside the defensive perimeter. By the time interceptors are launched, it's gone. There is no defense. There is only impact. Russia publicly announced AVANGARD's existence in 2018. President Vladimir Putin called it invincible. Western intelligence agencies did not dispute the claim. In 2019, Russia conducted a successful test launch. In 2021, the system was declared operational and deployed to active military units. This is not speculation. This is confirmed reality. But the deeper horror of AVANGARD is not the weapon itself. It's what the weapon means. Nuclear doctrine has always relied on a buffer, a window of time between detection and decision. Time for communication. Time for verification. Time to distinguish a real attack from a false alarm, a system malfunction, a miscalculation. AVANGARD eliminates that buffer. If a hypersonic weapon is detected inbound, there is no time to verify, no time to negotiate, no time to ask questions. There is only time to respond or die. And when decisions must be made in seconds, the risk of catastrophic error increases exponentially. A satellite glitch could be mistaken for a launch. A test flight could be misinterpreted as an attack. A single wrong call could trigger a retaliatory strike that ends civilization. This is the world AVANGARD has created. A world where the margin for error has shrunk to nothing. Russia is not alone in developing hypersonic weapons. China has deployed the DFZF, a similar glide vehicle capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear warheads. The United States is racing to catch up, pouring billions into programs like the long-range hypersonic weapon and the air-launched rapid response weapon. But the race itself is the danger, because the faster these weapons become, the less time humanity has to think. And wars that are fought without thinking are wars that cannot be stopped. What if I told you the most dangerous weapon on Earth doesn't explode, doesn't fire, doesn't kill? What if I told you it just changes your mind? This is not metaphor. This is cognitive warfare. It is already happening. In 2021, NATO officially recognized cognitive warfare as the sixth domain of conflict, alongside land, sea, air, space, and cyber. Not propaganda, not misinformation, warfare. The deliberate, systematic weaponization of human cognition using artificial intelligence, big data, and behavioral psychology to manipulate belief, memory, and decision-making at scale. Here's how it works. Every time you interact with a screen, every click, every search, every like, every pause, you generate data. That data is harvested, analyzed, and fed into machine learning algorithms designed to build a psychological profile of you. not a generic profile. Your fears, your biases, your triggers, your vulnerabilities. The algorithm learns what makes you angry, what makes you afraid, what makes you trust, what makes you doubt, and then it uses that knowledge against you. Cognitive warfare systems deploy tailored content designed to exploit your specific psychological weaknesses. Deep fake videos that show events that never happened. Fabricated evidence that confirms your existing beliefs. Algorithmically optimized narratives that feel true because they align with what you already think. The goal is not to inform you. The goal is to control you. And the terrifying part is this: you will not know it's happening, because the best manipulation feels like your own conclusion. This is not science fiction. In 2016, Russian-linked operations used social media platforms to inflame racial tensions, suppress voter turnout, and spread disinformation during the US presidential election. Over 126 million Americans were exposed to content created by foreign intelligence operatives, and most never knew it. In 2020, Chinese state-backed accounts amplified conspiracy theories about COVID-19, sowing distrust in public health institutions across multiple continents. In 2022, Ukraine reported large-scale cognitive operations designed to demoralize troops and civilians using fake surrender videos, fabricated atrocity footage, and personalized messages sent to soldiers' phones. These are not isolated incidents. These are pilot programs. The next evolution of cognitive warfare is already in development. AI systems capable of generating millions of unique, hyper-personalized messages per second. Deepfake technology so advanced it can replicate voices, faces, and mannerisms in real time. Neural interfaces that could theoretically bypass conscious thought entirely, implanting suggestions directly into the subconscious mind. This is not dystopian speculation. This is documented research being conducted by defense agencies around the world. In 2023, a leaked NATO report outlined the strategic priority of neurostrike: the ability to use electromagnetic fields, directed energy, or pharmaceutical agents to disrupt cognitive function in enemy combatants. Not to kill them, to confuse them, to make them incapable of coherent thought. Imagine a battlefield where soldiers don't die. They just forget why they're fighting. The nightmare scenario is not that cognitive warfare will start a war. The nightmare is that it will win one without anyone realizing the war ever happened. Because if you can control what people believe, you don't need tanks. You don't need bombs. You don't need territory. You just need to convince the enemy that they've already lost. And once they believe it, they have. The battlefield of the future is not physical. It is perceptual. And the victors will be those who mastered the human mind before anyone realized it was under attack. Imagine a weapon with infinite ammunition. A weapon that fires at the speed of light. A weapon that costs 10 cents per shot. This is not theoretical. This is DRAGONFIRE. And the British military has confirmed it works. In January 2024, the UK Ministry of Defence released footage of a high-energy laser weapon successfully engaging aerial targets. The system, developed in partnership with defence contractors, uses focused beams of light to burn through metal, disable electronics, and destroy incoming threats. There is no recoil, no sound, no projectile. The target simply begins to burn. What makes directed energy weapons revolutionary is not just their lethality, it's their economics. A conventional missile costs millions of dollars. A laser shot costs the price of the electricity required to power it. Roughly 10 British pence. About 12 cents. This inverts the entire strategic calculus of modern warfare. Right now, defense systems are overwhelmed by cheap drones, swarm tactics, and saturation attacks. The cost of intercepting a $500 drone with a $3 million missile is unsustainable. But if you can engage that drone with a laser that costs pennies, the equation changes entirely. Suddenly, defending becomes economically viable. Suddenly, numerical advantage means nothing. DRAGONFIRE is designed to be mounted on Royal Navy warships. Once deployed, a single vessel could theoretically engage hundreds of threats without resupply. No ammunition stockpiles. No logistics chains, no reload cycles, just continuous, silent lethality. But there's a darker implication. Laser weapons are invisible. They leave no launch signature, no missile trail, no warning. If a ship or aircraft is destroyed by a directed energy weapon, the attacked nation may not immediately know what happened or who did it. Was it a malfunction? A fire? An accident? Or was it an act of war? This ambiguity is dangerous, because if you cannot identify the source of an attack, you cannot respond proportionally. You cannot negotiate. You cannot de-escalate. You can only guess. And in a world of laser weapons, guessing wrong could mean World War III. The UK has announced DRAGONFIRE will be operational by 2027. The United States, China, Russia, and Israel are all developing parallel systems. Within a decade, directed energy weapons will be standard across modern navies. And when that happens, the nature of naval warfare, how battles begin, how they are fought, how blame is assigned, will fundamentally change. The age of the gun is ending. The age of the laser has already begun. There are weapons built to win wars. And then there are weapons built to end the world. Poseidon is the latter. Officially, it is classified as an autonomous underwater vehicle. In reality, it is a doomsday weapon. Poseidon is a nuclear-powered torpedo, but calling it a torpedo is like calling the atomic bomb a firecracker. It is over 80 feet long. It can travel over 6,000 miles submerged, at depths no existing countermeasure can reach. It moves silently, autonomously, guided by artificial intelligence that does not require human oversight. And it carries a warhead estimated at up to 100 megatons. To put that in perspective, the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated, the Soviet Tsar Bomba, had a yield of 50 megatons. Poseidon is twice that. Its mission is not tactical. It is not designed to destroy a military base, a fleet, or even a city in the conventional sense. It is designed to create uninhabitability. Poseidon is meant to detonate offshore, near coastal megacities. The explosion would generate a radioactive tsunami, waves hundreds of feet high, laced with fallout, crashing into population centers and rendering entire regions toxic for generations. New York, Los Angeles, London, Tokyo, cities with tens of millions of people, gone, not destroyed, erased. And here's the truly terrifying part. Poseidon is autonomous. It can be prepositioned in international waters during peacetime, lying dormant on the ocean floor for months, years, waiting for a signal that may never come, or that comes too late to stop. Because once Poseidon is deployed, it cannot be recalled, cannot be intercepted, cannot be negotiated with. It is a commitment to annihilation, placed in the hands of an algorithm. Russia publicly acknowledged Poseidon's existence in 2018. Western intelligence agencies confirmed its development. Satellite imagery has identified the submarines designed to deploy it. This is not a rumor. This is operational reality. And the existence of Poseidon represents a return to the darkest logic of the Cold War. Weapons built not to be used, but to guarantee that if war comes, no one survives. Mutual, assured, destruction, taken to its ultimate extreme. If Poseidon is ever used, there will be no victory. There will be no surrender. There will only be silence. And the slow, radioactive death of coastlines that once held the future of civilization. The weapon is real. The threat is real. And the world has chosen to live with it anyway. In 1945, the world saw what nuclear weapons could do. The images from Hiroshima and Nagasaki were seared into global memory. The mushroom cloud became the symbol of apocalypse. People understood the threat because they could see it. They could measure it. They could fear it in tangible, visceral terms. But the weapons you've just learned about are different. They don't announce themselves with explosions. They don't leave craters you can photograph. Some don't kill at all. They just rewrite reality until the truth becomes whatever the algorithm says it is. And that is the most unsettling revelation of all. The next global conflict may not begin with a declaration of war. It may begin with a satellite you didn't see, a torpedo waiting beneath the ocean, a shift in your beliefs so subtle you never noticed it was happening. Right now, in facilities buried beneath mountains, hidden in desert test ranges, submerged in ocean trenches, the future of warfare is being built. Most of it will never be declassified. Most of it will never be explained. But it is there. And the silence is not an absence of threat. It is a strategy, because the most powerful weapon is the one you never see coming. In 1993, Marauder disappeared. But directed energy research didn't stop. It accelerated. It went underground. And today, every major military power is pursuing weapons that make plasma rings look primitive. Russia deployed AVANGARD, but China has hypersonic glide vehicles of its own. So does the United States. The arms race isn't slowing down. It's entering a phase where speed and stealth make defense obsolete. NATO recognized cognitive warfare. But that recognition came after years of operations had already been conducted. After millions of people had already been targeted. After entire elections had already been influenced. The UK confirmed DRAGONFIRE. But how many other laser systems exist that haven't been acknowledged? How many ships, aircraft, and installations are already armed with directed energy weapons that the public knows nothing about? Russia revealed Poseidon. But revelation is not the same as transparency. We know it exists. We don't know how many have been built. We don't know where they are. We don't know if they're already deployed. Lying in wait on the ocean floor, silent and patient. The pattern is always the same. By the time the public learns about a weapons program, it is already operational. By the time it is acknowledged, it is already too late to stop. And this raises a question that should keep you awake at night. If these are the weapons we know about, what exists that we don't? There are programs so classified that even their names are redacted. Black budget operations funded by money that never appears in public accounting. Research conducted in facilities that don't officially exist. And the people working on them have signed agreements that legally prevent them from speaking for the rest of their lives. This is not paranoia. This is how national security works. The uncomfortable truth is this. The most advanced weapons on Earth are the ones you will never hear about until they are used. And by then, it will be too late to prepare, too late to defend, too late to respond. The wars of the future will not be fought on battlefields. They will be fought in your mind, in the space above your head, in the ocean beneath your feet, in frequencies you cannot perceive and decisions you did not consciously make. And the victors will be those who mastered secrecy, speed, and invisibility long before the world realized the fight had begun. This is not the end of the story. This is not even the full picture. This is just the edge, the thin sliver of classified reality that has leaked into public view. The rest remains buried, locked behind security clearances, hidden in redacted documents, guarded by governments that have every incentive to keep you in the dark. Because an informed public is a questioning public. And questions are dangerous when the answers could shatter the illusion of control. So here is what you need to understand. The next time you hear about a breakthrough in military technology, remember, it's not a breakthrough, it's a disclosure. The technology has existed for years, maybe decades. You're only hearing about it now because it no longer matters if you know. The weapons that will define the next war are already built. They are already deployed. They are already watching. And the only question left is this: when they are finally used, will you even know it happened? This is the world we live in now. A world where the most powerful forces are invisible, where the greatest threats are silent, where the wars that will determine the future of humanity are being fought in shadows you cannot see. If this unsettled you, it should. Because unsettled is better than unaware. And awareness is the only defense left when every other defense has already been compromised. Welcome to the future. It's already here. You just weren't supposed to notice. The classified world doesn't want you asking questions. We do. Subscribe for investigations into the secrets they don't want you to know.